If you are not transitioning from boy to girl, how can you be trans, right? How can you be transgender? How can you be transsexual if you are not transitioning from point A to B?
I'm way beyond universes, beyond Mars. I am the love on the Venus before extraterrestrial.
Hey sweethearts and snickle Latinas, once again, tapping in, welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, turn on all post notifications so you can be notified every time I upload. So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about how certain people ruin the transgender community. Okay, so I noticed that there is two groups of people that are constantly tarnishing trans women's name. The first group that I notice is people that are not truly trans, right? Like, for example, they can be, you know, say they're not really male nor female. They're somewhere in the middle, right? But they also say they are trans, right? So they say, oh, I'm like non-binary trans, or I'm queer/trans. So for example, I seen this one Jubilee debate, right? And there was this individual that said they identify as like non-binary trans or something like that, right? And this person had a beard and had makeup on. That's it, a beard and makeup. And they were talking about going inside of the women's restroom, right? So people see that, like, if this person went to the women's restroom, they would automatically think what? Predator, right? They would automatically think predator. So mind you, this person could say they are such and such trans, right? So all people hear is the word trans and they automatically think, oh, that's a trans woman. So in turn, we get attacked for that person's actions, right? And another group that I notice is people that barely start transitioning, right? Now, I'm not too sure if they are truly trans or not, right? But these people barely start transitioning, and they only been transitioning for like 2 or 3 weeks, and they want to go use women's spaces, right? They want to go in the women's restroom and stuff like that, right? So then the women look at them, oh, that's a predator. That's a guy claiming to be trans, right? And this is stuff that's common sense. If you have not been transitioning for some time, do not carry you behind inside of the women's restroom.
Because you're not that cute. And your hair is uneven. You look dusty.
Point blank period, right? Let alone women's spaces in general, right? So this is what's going on, because how I started my transition, right? Back then, I knew a lot of trans women, right? I knew so many trans women. I was pretty popular, you know, with trans girls, because we all would meet up in one place, right? So all the trans girls up north to where I live, we all would meet up, right? So I knew of a lot of trans girls. We would go through our transition, right? Start transitioning, and then after we've been working on ourselves for some time, right? After we have been building ourselves up from the inside out, right? You know, building up our character, you know, going through our transition, right? Stuff like that. Then we would use the women's restroom. I don't know of any trans women, right? Me personally, I don't know of any trans women that just started transitioning for like a month and then decides to use the women's restroom, right? That's crazy. And like I said, this stuff is just common sense. It's courtesy, right? And another thing that I noticed is some people that claim to be trans, they go inside of the women's restroom and women's spaces and stuff, and they want to snap pictures and take pictures of everybody and all types of stuff, right? And I can honestly say, someone that truly has gender dysphoria, right? If you truly have gender dysphoria, you're trying your hardest to be incognito as possible, right? So you go in there, do your business, and leave, right? So this is why I'm starting to think that these people are not truly trans. Transgender came from the word transsexual, right? So transgender is basically a modern name for transsexual, right? So if you ever heard of transsexual women or transsexual men, right? It means to transition from boy to girl, right? Or vice versa, girl to boy, right? The whole boy to girl, right? If you are not transitioning from boy to girl, how can you be trans, right? How can you be transgender? How can you be transsexual if you are not transitioning from point A to B?
Huh?
Right? So what's going on is a lot of people are calling themselves trans, and they're, you know, doing off the wall stuff, and we are getting blamed for it, right? Because they automatically hear that word trans, so they think that it's us, right? So that's why we're getting painted as predators, we're getting painted as going after kids, we're getting painted as weirdos, all types of stuff, right? But when you analyze that and you look at it and you see all these people that, you know, did some off the wall stuff, right, and claim to be trans, if you look at them, what do they look like? Really analyze that and ask yourself, what do they look like? They literally all look like they just started transitioning. Am I right? They look like they literally started transitioning like a month ago, right? Now, why is that? You have to ask yourself, why don't you see someone that has been transitioning for some time? Why is it that you never see us inside of the media, you know, doing some crazy off the wall shit? They don't have gender dysphoria because, like, it's crazy. Like, trans women that have gender dysphoria, we're not walking around going to spas with our genitals hanging out, right?
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
We're not going to bathrooms and trying to get attention and all this crazy shit. We don't do that. We literally, we're trying to be as incognito as possible. We're trying to, you know, that's the whole point, to pass, right? We don't be out there like, hey, look at us. So that's why I'm starting to think these people are not even trans, but they tarnish the trans community. And we get blamed for everybody's shit, right? And nobody really speaks up about this stuff. And like I said, I mean, I know, you know, there's a lot of trans girls like, oh, just let them identify as trans, right? But they don't realize that that hurts the trans community. When I first started transitioning, it was just lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans, right? And now there's like so many different genders, and I don't know, but how can you, you know, how can you be a bunch of different genders and then attach the name trans to it, right? It's not the same. So then when you do something, because you're like, well, today I feel like a girl, today I feel like a boy, or whatever, and you do something and then you say, oh, I'm such and such trans, all they hear is trans. That's literally all people hear is the word trans. So they attack us for it, right? Then on top of that, it's so bad that even transphobes don't even know what the hell trans is, right? So they put trans in every single title. Trans in every single title. I'd be watching the videos, right? And it'd be people, not one of them in that video is trans. So I'm thinking to myself, why are we in the title when the video has absolutely nothing to do with transgender women? And another thing is these people that claim to be trans, right? They'll do a crime and then they identify as trans after they got caught, right? Like, people are so slow. They don't think about things, right? How do you do a crime and then you identify as trans after you did the crime? They're doing it to try to get inside the women's prison. Duh. They're not truly trans. So why should we take the heat for stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with us, right? Has absolutely nothing to do with us. A lot of these people do some crazy off the wall shit and then they identify as trans after they do it, right? It's crazy. And then there's people that been transitioning for like a week or two and they're trying to go in women's spaces. So I just want to talk about this situation because that's something that I noticed. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, future content, and until next time, guys.
Oh, now we gotta go?